All right, so we're going to get started on Project 8 in our book, which is about the digital layout variations. So if you go to Against the Clock and go to Project 8, that is where we're going to be at today. So without any files opened, we're going to start here. So we're going to go to Edit. We're going to go ahead and go to Color Selections or Color Settings. We're going to make some changes because we've got to go ahead and set up some things for the next project we're planning on working in. So what we're going to go here is we're going to make sure that this here is set to North America Pre-Press 2. And then in the CMYK window, or the menu, we're going to choose the US Sheet Fed coat versus 2 or version 2. And then in the color management policies, we're going to make sure that the preserved embedded profile selection is selected for RGB, and that the preserved numbers ignore linked profiles is selected for CMYK. All three of these boxes need to be checked if they're not. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that our advanced mode up here is clicked as well. And we're going to say, okay. So now we're going to go over here. You're going to go find your, you go here in your files, go find your InDesign files, and we're going to go open up the CA Council. But make sure you have to make sure to unzip it so that you can open it under InDesign. So we're going to extract it all. We're going to go over here and we're going to move it to our work in progress folder. And because I like to be a little bit more organized, I'm going to create a file called Project 8 and then just move it into there so it's a little bit more clean. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the InDesign file called the CAC-brochure. I'm going to open that one up in here. So I'm going to go to File, Open. Under my WIP, I'm going to go to Project 8, CAC Council, and then I'm going to open the CAC brochure. And when I say open, it might give you a warning. Yep, there it is. Where it says missing or modified images, we're going to say update modified links. And right here, what we're going to do is we're going to select this section, the second option here, where it says to adjust the document to match current color settings. And we're going to leave everything else alone. We're going to say okay. Now, of course, you see it pop up again. Now, in the second warning, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select the second button where it says adjust the document to match the current settings here. And we're going to say okay. And now you see that the file opens. So we're going to hit Control S to save it. Now we're going to go to Window, Output, Separation Previews. In the views here, I'm going to click on Separations. And I'm going to click on this Pantone 8863C. I'm going to click the ink name to see what color that is being used. And you'll see that everything else kind of disappears. And then you notice that we have multiple pages as I scroll down. Now when I go back up here and I click right here, it shows me everything again. But if I only click the one, it'll just go to the one. But if I click up here, it'll show me everything. Now if I go here and I say off, that'll still turn off the separations preview and I'll get to see the frame edges again. Okay, so with this open, we're going to use the type tool. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say type, track changes. And I'm going to say, here, let me just put this here for now. We're going to go back up here and go type, track changes, enable all tracking in the stories. All right, so under edit, under preferences, where the track changes thing, I want to open this box. And I'm going to make sure that the added text, deleted, and the move text are all clicked. I want them to be checked. And then I'm going to go to the marking piece on the added text and do underline. And then with the deleted, I'm going to choose red as the background. And we'll say okay. So right now we are on page 1. Let me get this out of the way. And let's do this. We're going to view and we're going to fit page in the window so that we can see the whole thing. Now I already did a box here, so let me grab this little text box. And since I already created one, I'm going to delete it. Don't need that. And then at the beginning of the story on this page, I'm going to double click so I can get my text insertion. And I'm going to put my insertion point at the beginning of the story right there. You see my little mouse clicking. And I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to find and change. And I'm going to type in City Parks and Recreation Guild. And I'm going to change it to Community Arts Council. And then in the search menu, I'm going to choose document so that it reads everything in the document itself. And then what I'm going to go from there is I'm going to say that I need it to go forward since I know that I'm at the beginning of it. And then I'm going to say find next. And then I'm going to click to say change and find. And then I'm going to say change all. And you'll see that the little button pops up and it says that 5 replacements were changed. And we're going to say okay. And we're going to say done. And we're going to Control S to save the file. And that piece is done. So this is pretty much kind of how this whole piece is going to go. So as you're seeing, this is pretty easy. So once again, I want you guys to go through this whole piece. I kind of done a little bit of the harder piece. You're going to have some interactive elements that you guys are going to be working on. So I want to see how y'all do with that. But after going through this whole lesson, this is probably one of the easier lessons you're going to be working through. And I'm actually very excited about this because this is one that you will do all through your career if you decide to work in the graphic realm and going from there. So I definitely want to see what you guys can do. And then I'm going to do a separate video in a little bit on how to do the basic animation piece. So watch for both videos.